Hi everyone, I'm David. Welcome to my channel. In this series, we are building an off-grid cabin. Now this is about 200 square feet. It's 12 foot by 16 foot. In the previous video, you saw we built it with truss design, which is a lot of fun. It was something new for me to try. And in this video, we're gonna continue on with a little bit more framing and sheathing. Now I designed it with a rim joist along the bottom. That's not totally necessary, but I thought it would be a nice place to kind of nail off both the sheathing on the underside and the wall sheathing and have a solid nailer back there. So let's carry on and get this thing sheathed in. Here we go. We're about to start sheathing, and for this build I chose to use 7/16 OSB. Now this is Oriented Strand Board, so it's not chipboard. It actually has a strength to it, and it does, per code, provide the shear resistance, keeps us from racking. But it's an inexpensive material, about half the price of 1/2-inch CDX plywood right now, at least in my area. We'll be installing it using a 2 3/8 inch ring shank nail. I popped a couple of nails in just so that we can butt the sheathing up to something. Okay. Here we go. Good job. Good job.
Yay!
Okay, we have our upper corner piece in place. Nice bevel on there, pretty well matches. And I marked the edge, so as you can see, I'll shift this one over a little bit to line up with that and nail them off. There's a little bit of a gap between that board that I'm installing and where it needs to sit, so it must be bowing upwards slightly, or I've notched them wrong, but either way, it's a little bit high. It's not flush with the slope, so I need to bring it down a little bit. All right, got those upper 2x8s in place on both, and that really stiffens it up. Let's come around, take a look at it. Now if we look at the rafters, if I step back far enough that you can see the rafters, you'll see that some of the rafters still have a bow. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that curve in the rafter, that'll be taken out once I get up on there, but at least the two ends are now secured, and as we add more sheathing, we know that everything's still on the 16-inch on center mark. It is raining again. Wow, this has been a wet spring, just rain after rain. But without having a subfloor on here, the rain can just fall straight through to the dirt. Even if it hits the pressure treated plywood, just rolls off. And I don't have to worry about puddling. And as soon as the sun comes out, it's gonna dry again. We're about to do a little staging. As you can see, we've sheathed the south wall and the north wall as high as we can off the step ladder. But at this point, we're gonna need some staging or wall brackets. So these are great for new construction. I picked up a bunch of these pretty cheap for $10 a piece on Facebook Marketplace. They typically go for, I don't know, $60 a piece, something like that. But they're pretty simple. Now these ones are currently set up from the previous person for a 2x6 or 2x4 wall. So we need to move this over one. So there's a hole here. We need to move it over one in order to use it on these 2x8 walls. So the bolt itself is just a long J-hook. So all we have to do is remove this cotter pin here, move the J-hook over to the next hole, and that will give us enough distance for the 2x8 wall. With the pin adjusted, we now have enough space on the bolt for a blocking behind it and use it on the 2x8 studs. So we are about to install the very first wall bracket. Now, according to the manufacturers, if you're using thin OSB like we are, 7/16 OSB, you need to add a backer, which is what this is. It's 5/8 inch plywood. So that helps spread out the load of this bottom piece of steel so that it doesn't bust through if you were to jump up and down or something. It's way overkill, but it's what we're doing. So he's going to put that through the hole in the sheathing. Cool. So here it is through the hole. I have a piece of 2x4 with a hole drilled in it. I put that on the bolt, and then these come with like a big giant wing nut. So it's a nice stable platform. I can work all the way up here doing the fascia and get the next row and a half of sheathing on. So it's good height. I don't need to put any shingles up from this side. That's going to be on the other side. So this works out great. I've already got a couple of nails in, so when I put this piece on, it's going to rest on the nails like that. That provides my gap. And then over here, we need a gap also on this to the next panel. So we just visually look at it and make sure that there's a gap. And we nail it off. There are some green lines which are helpful guides, but they're not always dead on 16 inches on center. So you do have to check. We are starting to add the roof sheathing on top of the rafters. But these aren't really the roof sheathing yet. This is actually the air barrier. we can come up here flush with the wall, flush to the roof deck, and tape all of these joints to make sure that we have an airtight structure. Later, we'll come back and we'll create an air gap with an overhang and then the actual roof sheathing on top of it that the shingles will be nailed to. The shingles will not be nailed to this layer. It's just an air barrier. It's also going to allow us to contain the insulation inside of the rafter cavity and prevent any wind washing, which would be the air blowing into the insulation. That's going to wrap up this video on sheathing the outside. In the next video, we'll continue with framing the two gable end walls, which will include the windows and doors, and then we'll sheathe those in. At that point, we'll be ready for our WRB, which will be our weather resistive barrier. So catch back for that, and thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, comment, and share.